The topic today is on last mile logistics and urbanization. The research question is, how does spatial distribution of urban populations affect last mile delivery and efficiency? Last mile logistics has become a critical component of global supply chains. The United States' increasing urbanization has brought forth challenges for last mile delivery. This presentation will examine factors that impact last mile delivery operations, including consumer preferences, government policies, sustainability, and emerging technologies. Little bit of context with this presentation. I did my master's thesis on speculative industrial development, which is essentially building a vacant warehouse and then leasing it up to a tenant. After helping with this project, I decided I wanted to learn more about what types of companies are leasing the warehouse buildings. They tended to be suppliers, manufacturers, supply chain, or e-commerce companies, to name a few. Supply chain logistics has become a huge passion of mine, and I'm only scratching the surface with my research. I'm by no means an expert yet. It's a space where you're always learning, and it's not something that ever gets figured out because it's so dynamic. Here's a few pictures of the project. It's a last mile logistics facility in southeast Denver, Colorado. Building 1 is 140,000 square feet, and building 2 is 55,000 square feet. Here's a site plan of the project. As you can see, there's 2 buildings, and again, it's a last mile logistics facility in southeast Denver. As far as the supply chain, essentially you have raw materials, then a supplier of those raw materials, and that goes to a manufacturer to make the products. Then a distributor eventually sends those products to an online retailer or in-store retailer, which ultimately gets to the consumer. And throughout, logistics is a main part of that, transporting products and materials from place to place. This is just another graph of producer to end consumer. As you can see, logistics is involved throughout. The way I did my research was I broke down 3 keywords and used Google and Google Scholar to find research articles. The 3 keywords were last mile logistics, and last mile statistics, and I brought those together for the basis of this topic description, which is last mile delivery and urbanization. Here were all the articles that I put together. For last mile, I had 9 that I found, and for last mile logistics, I had 17. The United States population is approximately 336 million people, and the world population is over 8 billion people. China is the most populated country in the world with 1.4 billion people, and the United States comes in third. Urbanization. Cities are experiencing urbanization at a rate never before seen in history. 5.1 billion, or 60% of the 8.5 billion people on the planet by 2030 will live in cities. Declining car costs and rising middle class incomes will enable millions more people to commute every day, thereby enabling individual mobility. It should come as no surprise that the experts who study urban mobility argue that the determining factor in how far people can travel in cities is land, not money. Here's just a chart of the United States broken down into 4 different regions. As you can see, the West is the second highest census region by population. However, it's the least dense. This figure shows urbanization in the United States. The orange is where more cities are located. East Coast is more dense and Mountain West is less dense. This figure illustrates the size of the rural and urban populations of the United States over time. The U.S. Census Bureau's population threshold of an urban place changes over time. The rural population is defined as any population outside urban areas. Approximately 83% of all Americans resided in cities and metropolitan areas in 2020. The United States has experienced a relatively high rate of urbanization over the past 200 years due to its early industrialization. Urbanization as a percentage of total population in 2020, as you can see, California and Florida have the highest. Congestion grows exponentially with increasing urban density. Since 2010, traffic has gotten worse in some of the biggest cities, including New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles, by 20 to 35%. Additionally, delivery vehicles, trucks, and vans give off disproportionately large amounts of emissions to cities, which account for 70% of global emissions compared to passenger cars. The transportation of goods from a central hub to their ultimate delivery point is commonly known as last mile in supply chain management and logistics planning. Typically, deliveries are directed to residential addresses and may include oversized items requiring assembly or installation indoors. Home delivery has become the preferred choice for package recipients, especially among millennials, thanks to the ongoing growth of courier, express, and parcel services globally. One other last mile issue is the difficulty of delivering goods in cities with poor traffic and safety conditions. When parcel delivery costs in developed and dense cities are broken down, labor costs make up the majority of the costs for either diesel-based deliveries from urban consolidation centers or traditional business-to-business deliveries. Amazon employs a dual strategy for delivering packages to customers within the last mile, utilizing both its internal fleet of vehicles and external services offered by third-party providers. To remain competitive, various retailers are increasingly investing in situating their distribution centers as close to urban areas as possible. Subsequently, they engage local courier services along with established delivery companies such as UPS, USPS, and FedEx to manage the crucial last mile deliveries. This chart shows the cost of last mile package delivery, and as you can see, cost per delivery decreases with higher population density. Some of the main costs include warehousing, fulfillment, delivery, and technology. The last mile problem. The last phase in supply chain management, known as the last mile, presents a formidable task of transporting packages from distribution hubs to their specified destinations. Challenges associated with last mile delivery include reducing expenses, ensuring transparency, improving efficiency, and upgrading infrastructure. Moving goods from the ultimate distribution center to the end consumer represents the most demanding part of the delivery process due to its complexity and cost implications. Customers are delighted with last mile delivery because it allows them to receive their purchases more quickly and enjoy the convenience of having their packages delivered right to their door rather than having to make the trip to a store or designated pickup point. Delivery times are accelerated by last mile delivery, which frequently starts at a retailer's local distribution center. Companies that provide reliable and timely delivery services are more likely drawn in and retain clients, which boosts sales. If last mile delivery enables businesses to provide delivery services to remote and rural areas, they may see an increase in sales and revenue. This is as a result of their increased accessibility to potential clients. Last mile delivery helps reduce the amount of time and resources required for delivery, which helps businesses streamline their operations. Retailers can increase the efficiency of their delivery operations and cut costs by employing automation and digital technologies to replace manual labor and administrative tasks. The COVID-19 pandemic caused a significant supply chain disturbance, notably with factory closures that affected manufacturing. Chinese companies ceased production and assembly on January 25th and February 3rd, 2020, respectively, aiming to curb the virus's transmission. These actions marked the onset of disruptions. China witnessed a substantial decline in industrial production by 13.5% from January 2020 to February 2020. With fully stocked warehouses and continuous trade, logistics companies have been at the forefront since the COVID-19 pandemic broke out. Nevertheless, the disruption of global supply chain brought on by the lockdown implemented in most of the world further limited the growth of merchandise trade in the aforementioned logistics segment. However, one particularly noteworthy aspect of this COVID pandemic was the explosive expansion of the e-commerce industry, which exposed customers to digital business models and clever and secure logistics guidelines. This chart shows the estimated quarterly U.S. retail e-commerce sales as a percentage of total quarterly retail sales from the first quarter 2014 to the fourth quarter 2023. The U.S. Census Bureau reports that e-commerce sales accounted for 14.7% of total sales in the second quarter of 23, up 7.7% year over year. Throughout the same time frame, total retail sales rose less than 1%. Delivery of last mile is becoming quicker. According to Project 44's May State of Transformation Last Mile Report, the average time from order date to delivery in April 23 is approximately 4 days. This is a 31% decrease from the average of 5.6 days in April 2022 and a 46% decrease from the average of 5.8 days in the first week of April 2021. Regular delivery is expected to more than double by 2031. Express delivery or same-day delivery is expected to be 4 times by 2031. The last mile delivery market is expected to increase in all areas, including e-commerce, retail, healthcare, mails and packages, and other. The highest increase will be e-commerce, which will more than double. Again, the last mile delivery market is expected to increase at a rapid pace by 2031. In the United States, it will more than double. Internationally, it will be 3 times as much. By 2031, in the last mile delivery market, business to business, business to consumer, and customer to customer all will increase. Customer to customer is expected to be a very lucrative segment. Business to consumer will more than double. The last mile delivery market is expected to grow at a compound annual growth rate of 9.8% from 2024 to 2032, from its estimated valuation of $146 billion in 2023 to $340 billion by 2032. The U.S. Census Bureau found that on average, Americans spent less time shopping than they did 15 years prior. The average amount of time spent shopping for consumer goods decreased to 10 hours from 12 hours. The U.S. e-commerce market in 2020 grew by 44% overall. At $861 billion, it accounts for 21.3% of all retail sales in the nation, marking the largest annual growth in e-commerce in the U.S. in 20 years. This is partly because of the COVID-19 pandemic. There's a 36% increase in delivery vehicles from 2019 to 2030, with 6 million tons of CO2 across the same period. Congestion will be a big problem as it is expected to increase by 21%. Future prospects. In the next 1 to 3 years, cities will face immediate and serious challenges due to e-commerce and associated last mile traffic if no action is taken. On the other hand, there are lots of chances to improve the well-being of the private sector, cities' livability, and traffic management. Vehicle routing problem. The majority of people know the fundamentals of the vehicle routing problem. To put it simply, it is a problem of finding the best routes to take from a depot to a group of customers that are spread out geographically while still meeting predetermined customer requirements. The VRP's primary goal is to reduce distribution costs, but it's common to underestimate how difficult it is to solve this issue. The best tools for determining the most economical routes are those that use artificial intelligence. In comparison to traditional route optimization tools, Tesco's AI-powered vehicle routing and scheduling system saved 11.2 million miles and 8% of fuel per order, while DHL implemented a dynamic routing algorithm known as Green Plan that saved 20% on delivery costs and computational time. Here's a graph and picture showing the vehicle routing problem. So how does this relate to land use and transportation planning? We are in need of public and private partnerships. Congestion will only continue to be a problem. You see delivery vans and trucks constantly. There should be land uses for industrial distribution close to cities to accommodate the last mile logistics facilities. This is a table showing urban logistics policy measures, including regulatory, market-based, land use planning, and infrastructure. Conclusion. Working together, stakeholders must tackle the intricate problems of last mile logistics. Innovation like parcel lockers, effective business-to-business delivery systems, and environmentally friendly delivery methods can be promoted by public-private partnerships. Regulatory frameworks that facilitate environmentally friendly logistics operations are also made possible by collaborations. Innovation. Because the logistics and e-commerce industries are so dynamic, constant innovation and adaptation are required. Businesses that make investments in state-of-the-art technology, customer-focused delivery strategies, and data analytics for demand forecasting will continue to be competitive. Long-term success also depends on organizations' ability to adapt quickly to changing market conditions, consumer preferences, and regulatory changes. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me at the email below or on my channel. And I appreciate you listening to this presentation today. Have a great day.